My parents gave me their old boat, actually, is probably like when I started skippering snipes for real, and I guess I was probably 13, I think. Although my parents tell me stories of me sailing snipes with them in like local bay races when I was 2 or 3. They have stories of me falling asleep on the boat and them having to do everything themselves because I was just passed out in the bottom. But it was one of the old boats where it was all the interior space, so you could just curl up in the bow or the stern and you're completely out of the way. I mean, I think it's a great boat to get into right out of college in terms of the fact that like you're probably pretty busy when you first get out of college. The boat's not too expensive now that there's good used boats out there. Like my boat cost me like $5,000 to get, and it's doing great. And they last a long time. It's a good investment. And then as well, like since it's not a spinnaker boat, it's got low cost. It's easy to pick up a crew and go sailing, so that's way easier. And then the class level competition is still super high. So especially if you're sailing in San Diego or Miami or Annapolis or anywhere in New England, really, there's lots of snipes to sail against. Those boats end up being expensive, and it almost becomes too hard to compete just because, okay, well now you're starting off behind because you're not be able to afford like the top end 49er, and it's just going to be like a uphill battle. You might finish mid-fleet every regatta, and it's a completely different thing. And yeah, it's cool, but long run snipe you'll be more competitive when you first get into it, and then you can learn a lot more, and it's not so you don't break as much stuff and all that kind of thing. It's way cheaper to go out sailing for the weekend than it is to campaign a 49er. Well, in Miami, there's a bunch of us just because the old man Diaz set up a program where they do the lease to own, and in that case, he would basically let you charter a boat for about $150 a month, and at the end of 4 or 5 years, the boat would be yours because you've paid it off. And if you decide you didn't want to do it anymore, you could give the boat back. You wouldn't get your money back, but you just could give the boat back. So a lot of us did that, and Augie Diaz also has a bunch of boats that he lends out to juniors, so it's gotten to be a pretty popular thing and for junior sailing in Miami, especially because it's like the best class to sail in there. I mean, I've still yet to win the Florida State Snipe Junior Championships, so on any given weekend you could have Brian Camwell out there, who was 2-time runner-up for College Sailor of the Year, or Enrique Quintero, who's crewing, who I think, I'm not sure if he ever won, he was crew at the Worlds last time and won as a crew, and then also did very well on his own, as a skipper in his own snipe. Tomas is pretty cool. I mean, he doesn't sail a snipe a lot, and he just jumps in and does great, so it's kind of funny that way. Although, I remember being back in, Marion, Massachusetts for the Nationals, and he was sailing there, so he's definitely been doing it for a long time, and I mean, he sails stars a lot too, which is sort of similar to the snipe and all the tuning stuff, and I think that helps him out a lot, but he's definitely more focused on sailing at Tufts for college sailing nowadays than his snipe sailing. In regular junior sailing, you don't have adjustments on the spreaders or tension. You have a little bit of tension adjusting, but you're not releasing it downwind, and the mast is like a telephone pole, so all that stuff you don't learn unless you sail these little more high-performance boats, or at least high-performance rigs. And I mean, you could still, the thing about a snipe is you could still jump in the boat and just put it to the marks on the mast that were from the person before you, and you'd probably be going just fine. But the little, like the fun stuff is the little teeny adjustments. So we have the Florida State Junior Snipe Champs, and I remember like my parents would let me borrow the boat, and I'd be like 13 years old, and you take your other 13-year-old friend, and of course you only weigh 210 pounds or something, and way overpowered, but just going sailing on the Snipe, it's a way bigger boat, you're used to opties, and all that was way fun. And then even like San Francisco was super fun last summer with the big breeze and hiking and reaching really fast, and then all the traveling I've gotten to be able to do, go to Italy, Uruguay, that kind of stuff is pretty fun too. So there's lots of different ways to have fun in the Snipe. They used to be like the Beverly Hillbillies kind of thing, where we'd have one year when we came out to San Diego for San Diego Snipe Nationals a couple years ago, we had 2 boats behind, 1 boat on top with a van kind of thing, and you're all driving out all the way across country, or going to Maine in the summer with a snipe on top and 2 opties and a whaler behind. Just pretty much my family likes to drive everywhere, so it's kind of fun growing up just to be in the car with your parents for 4 days or whatever, driving cross country. And you think it'd be bad, but nowadays with TV and everything in the car, it's not bad at all.